Hello and welcome to a new podcast I'm starting called From Chaos to Country. I'm Rodell Grazzi, aka Mama Moody, and I'm trying to do this with both recording on the computer and on the video and doing all the production. I'm in my new house. I've got a lovely view outside of trees and rain, and it's been suggested to do a podcast about being a person that lived in very busy areas for all their lives to moving to the country. And I'll I'll have some sort of format, and eventually I'd love to have some guests. I just haven't figured that out yet, but we will. Um, if some of you don't know me, I'm from New York. I was born and raised in New York in Long Island. And honestly, you know what? I had a lot of fun growing up, and I also had like it was like both, it was good and great, and there were not so great things about it. But for the most part, I had a lot of fun growing up. But I was also a nerd, so there was a lot of trauma with that. I mean, a nerd, like, oof, I got stories. And anyway, I grew up in Garden City Park, which is not Garden City. It was Garden City Park. And New Hyde Park, if you know a little bit about Long Island. If you're not from Long Island, I'd say New Hyde Park. If you were from Long Island, I'd say Garden City Park. Anyway, and I started comedy in Manhattan, did comedy for 5 years in New York, and then at 26, everything was going really, I was just killing it in New York with spots and working all the time. Lived in a basement apartment with a 6-foot ceiling, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave all this glamour and I'm going to move to LA. Because at the time, my sister lived in LA, and I was on the road with a comedian named Lisa Lampanelli, and Lampanelli was like, you need to move to LA because all the shows were there. Now, mind you, in 2004, it was true. All the TV shows were in LA. New York had some shows, but New York had comedy. And that was what I was really, like, I was like, this is the Mecca, right? I was very lucky. And I moved to LA for my hopes and dreams. And as you can see, that really worked out. But hold on. I was in LA for 19 years. It would have been 20 this year. And I gotta say, man, when I got to LA, well, one, I was 26. So I got a job like literally the next day. I was sleeping on my sister's couch. Her restaurant hired me. I was like, I'm working. I was out. I went to clubs. I went to shows. I was like, hi, I'm Ro. I'm new to LA. Been doing comedy 5 years. We didn't have all the internet stuff that we have now. Like, we had MySpace, but that was about it. And really, it was just about going out and meeting people. And I would drive everywhere. Everywhere. You name it, I would drive. And so I really pounded the pavement and met people and was loving it. I loved LA. I remember sitting on Sunset Boulevard at the Comedy Store with my friend Rebecca, and we were drinking a Cosmo or something. I'm like, look at us living the dream. We're on Sunset Boulevard. And for a while, it really was. It really was a really fun place to live. When you're single and you don't have kids, you don't notice things that might bother you when you do have kids, like the unhoused population. That might not bother you as much. And then I met my husband. And I met my husband because I got a loan from him at US Bank. If you've seen my act, I've said, I got a loan and a husband, and I got him to help me pay off the loan. High fives, high fives. Yeah. Anyway, I did pay off that loan, but he was born and raised in LA, in Chatsworth, in the Valley. So we had his whole family there. I had built up my friends. I had some family there. And we were just kind of doing our thing. I was living in a rent-controlled 2-bedroom apartment. I had a lot of different apartments in LA. I kind of bounced around to different apartments. And I will say this, I don't like bouncing around to places. I had one home growing up, and there was drama in that home, but it was one home. And then in New York, I had 2 different apartments. That was it. So I didn't like the idea of going from one to one apartment to the next, but just circumstances and whatever it was. Now, mind you, the apartment we were in when we left LA, that was the longest I had been in an apartment. So it was in Sherman Oaks. And we started dating right when I moved in, and then we got engaged, and then we got married, and then I got pregnant with our son. Feels pretty quick. I'm not gonna lie. We were married in October. I was pregnant in February. Yep. Anyway, we had our son, and then we kind of decided we were like, we're gonna have another kid pretty quickly. Just want to get it out of the way, right? Anyway, then we had our daughter, and for a while, this base was working. We had a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, rent-controlled in Sherman Oaks, which was a very sought-after, like we were a block away from Ventura Boulevard. We're in a great school district. It's a very sought-after neighborhood. And you know what? It just stopped working for me. I just couldn't do it anymore. It's crowded. It's expensive as all hell. And it just, that hustle, that bustle, that chaos that I've always felt comfortable in just was not working for me anymore. It was really like, I don't think I want to live in this chaos anymore. And me and my husband wanted a home, and he really wanted to make it work in LA. Really, truly. But our neighborhood, the brand new houses were going for $3 million, and the ones that were run down and needed to be teared down were going for $1.2 million. And look, I'm all about thinking big and visualizing, but that's just a little ridiculous. And also, who's paying $3 million? And then you have an unhoused person screaming in front of your property, and the houses are like this close together. And there's crime, and it's one thing if you have crime and unhoused people and all of that, and prices are reasonable. It's another that, like, a girl's night out for a dinner is definitely going to cost you $200. That's our car payment. So I talked to my husband about it, and we just realized that we needed to make a change. And he realized that we can get a house, we just might have to leave LA. So what I did was I did a 19-city PowerPoint presentation. And I did research on 19 cities, and I'll totally go into all that. And then I presented it to our family on Easter of last year, April 9th, my brother's birthday. And less than a year later, here we are in our home in Grayson, Georgia. And I love it. There's deer in our back. There's deer in our backyard. It's like an effing Disney movie. So that's just a little background. I'm going to get more into what it was like growing up in chaos and what it's like growing up in the country. I mean, we're not growing up in the country, living in the country. People are very nice here. They open doors for you. It's like there's no honking, there's no helicopters. It's really peaceful. So I'm going to go more into that. Thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions about how to relocate, if you want to relocate, please drop it in the comments. You can always email me at therealmamamoody@gmail.com. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can subscribe. Thanks. Bye.